Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to a special edition of Talk That Tech. The
Number one tech morning show in the world. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Morning show, Monday mornings here at 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Central. And so, man, I know you're up early. I was just thinking about that today. I was like, oh man, he has to wake up. It feels like a little extra early, but hopefully daylight savings time doesn't feel too bad. How was your weekend, man?
Uh, I don't know. It kind of changed now, man. It's back to regular. Daylight savings is over. It's 6 o'clock feels like 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
uh, no, man. It really. To be honest, though, I think I would have been way better. I literally, I've still been moving this week, so it was a long one, man. So that was the thing there. So I'm feeling a little roughed up, mainly due to also yesterday I went ahead and went and played some golf just to kind of get out and clear my head kind of deal. But we're back in full effect. Yeah, that was the weekend, man. That was it. Church, that and that. How was yours?
Oh man, it was like I was recovering. It was like a lot was going on. But before I even do that, y'all, if y'all are tuning in from any which way, YouTube, land, Instagram, Facebook, or other places, go ahead and go to youtube.com fall slash, oh, can't speak this morning. youtube.com / at Talk That Tech Show. That's youtube.com / at Talk That Tech Show. So that you can be a part of everything that's going on today. It's gonna be a special show. We're going to actually give space for you, the viewer, to share your thoughts and your opinions about any particular topic for sure, but definitely if you were able to attend Afrotech, we wanted to hear your thoughts and your feedback from those that are able to attend Afrotech. So go ahead and log in there for that information before I let you know. Actually, there's going to be a link. I put it in the description, but you can click on that link to call into the show. And when you call into the show, you can share your experiences if you were at Afrotech, how'd you enjoy it, and let the audience know so that next year they can be prepared to go and be a part of the experience as well. So before we get into that, I just want to let you know my weekend was a very interesting one.
Yeah.
I took a trip, but I didn't go to Afrotech this time. I went to a place called Miami, Florida. I was at a conference there for my job, and it was nice to be in the room with other people. Some people I've just known them from LinkedIn, and we've been communicating on LinkedIn for almost half a year, if not a little bit longer. So it was a pleasure to meet some people in person. But it
Yeah.
also was a pleasure to kind of learn more about the industry and learn more about what at least in my industry, what are some of the pain points and the things that people are going through, and seeing how we could be best to solve those particular issues. So it was definitely a cool time. And before I even dive deeper into my weekend, just let us know where you're watching in from. If you're watching in from uh, wherever it may be, just let us know because we want to hear from you as well. Well, that was basically the week. And that bled into the weekend because man, I got tired. I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
and I think I might have gotten a little sick as well. And so
Are you
I had to
serious?
unfortunately, yeah. And so I went to the urgent care yesterday just to make sure that I'm good, and it looks more positive than negative, but they did give me some antibiotics. They give me a few things to make sure that whatever situation that I was experiencing at the time, that it was okay. We got Harmony, by the way, in the building. Let me just go to Harmony real
Hey,
quickly. What up, Harmony? She says she's watching it from South Carolina.
South Carolina. What up?
Awesome. What up, South Carolina? So
I heard
glad
I
to
heard
have you
good
in
things.
the
I heard good
building.
things about the Carolinas.
Yeah, yes. Continue to let us know how good it is, and even let us know if you went to Afrotech as well. Definitely want to hear if you went to Afrotech. But yeah, man, I think it was definitely one that
Oh, I thought you froze
um
up there for a little bit.
could you hear me? Could you see me? I think I'm here. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we're
we
good.
got you. We got you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it definitely was a weekend of just kind of recovering. What up, Chosen? We got Chosen0319 on Instagram. What up, Chosen? Good morning, bro. And so yeah, we got Jalen in the house as well. Jalen Hudson says,
Hey,
"Good morning,
good
good
morning.
morning." He says, "Good morning, fellas." Wanted to ask you, Jalen, did you get a chance to go to Afrotech? And if so, you're gonna be able to call into the show and let us know your thoughts. So hang tight if you have. We definitely want to hear from you today. But yeah, there's a lot of things that happened this weekend. There's a lot of things that
Quite
happened
a
this
little
weekend.
few, yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, and we're gonna definitely dive into it. But what I'm gonna do right now is just so you guys are aware, and it doesn't catch you by surprise. I'm dropping right now. It's already in the description on LinkedIn, but I'm dropping also the link here on YouTube in the chat, just in case you haven't seen it, where you could call into the show. Again, this will be a call-in show, and if you want to talk about this particular topic that we're about to head into, feel free to call in then as well. But we're definitely going to call in for the Afrotech portion of the conversation because we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from you guys about how it went down. So if you are on either Talk That Tech or if you're on my channel, whichever one it may be, or Trey's, go ahead and click that link right there, and you can be able to call into the show and share your thoughts about Afrotech. All right, so definitely check that out, and we're going to continue talking. But I almost forget. There's one thing we got to always talk about when we are on here that I want to make sure that we reverberate, and that is that we are not alone in what we do. We're actually part of a network called the Alive Podcast Network. The Alive Podcast Network is actually a network of other creators in the space, Black, Brown, others that are doing their thing, and who are being able to launch their platforms and be able to make a voice for themselves. And so we partner with the Alive Podcast, and you might see us on their website, the alivepodcastnetwork.com. That's the alivepodcastnetwork.com. But when you get a chance to go there, you'll probably see our mugs on the on the website. So if you get a chance, go ahead and check that out for yourselves. It's the alivepodcastnetwork.com. So I just want to make sure I mention that before we dive into the show. But man, I got to tell you, the weekend was full of quite a few different surprises. And so one of those being something that happened Friday that I'm gonna let Trey talk about. But Mama
What's
said,
that?
"Knock you out." This is not what I had in mind, and so this was about that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity to see a legend in the boxing world. Uh, how do I put it? Not show up for at least his best self in a particular way. And so if you know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna let Trey kind of chime in a bit more and share a bit about that situation that happened.
Yeah, man. Sometimes it's one of those things where, actually, not sometimes, all the time. Uh, Father Time is undefeated, bro. Father Time is undefeated, and it just looks like in the ring, you definitely had him. Obviously, I mean, he's pushing 60. He for his age, he did a good job, man. For his age, he did a good job. My whole thing was this: if Mike Tyson could have knocked him out in the first round, he would have won. And anything past the first round, I just knew that Mike Tyson was not going to win just because of his age. He's older. So if he could have just boom got it over with in the first round, all right, we good. But anything after that, going 8 rounds, he had it was a great chance that he was going to lose that, and that's what happened. But the other side of that is I also, if it did go past one round, I did not want him to get knocked out. So I'm just glad he didn't hit the canvas and didn't go down, and look bad. He had a nice payday, so it was a win for him for sure. If I had to say, it was still a win for him. But what are we talking about though? We're talking about Netflix, all right, the platform that was actually streaming the fight. It actually happened right down not too far from me. There's a lot of people in the area, but Netflix had it rocking, kind of. All right, they had some serious service disruptions during the fight, and I'm sure a lot of y'all saw it. A lot of the freezing, a lot of the man, what's going on? I saw Kev on stage during the fight. He posted a quick video about it, but had me laughing. But yeah, basically at its peak, about 90,000 people reported problems. Like they actually put it out there, and they were that recorded the down, that it was down. And what's crazy is y'all know that's just a fraction because I experienced it, but I definitely didn't even report it. So how many more people didn't even report the outage? So yeah, it was quite a few. And basically, it was going on during that fight, during the boxing match between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And obviously, everyone knew that it was gonna bring a lot of traffic to the platform. I'm sure they tried their best to prepare, and it still was too many people to actually get it done. So yeah, it was a lot of stuff going on when it came to that. Now, according to Netflix, because they did put something out, obviously, the service is up and running now, right? They basically emphasized that the service interruptions are rare and that they strive to provide uninterrupted streaming. Which, yeah, I agree. As they've been going up over these years, right? They started out low, now they creeping on up in price. You shouldn't have no interruptions. All right, we shouldn't be experiencing nothing outside of what I'm trying to watch. But I understand, when it's a lot of people hopping on a certain service server and stuff like that, that stuff just goes out. Yeah, and so yeah, basically, what caused the outage? Um, it happened during the fight, basically, and it was primarily due to the anticipation of the Mike Tyson fight and Jake Paul. And basically, it wasn't officially confirmed by Netflix, but it was several things: high volume, high traffic, right? And then streaming challenges, difficult in handling the live streaming event. So, yeah, about 86% of the problems were related to the video, and then 10% were server connection error. So that's what we had. That's what was going down, and that's why it was a little choppy while you was trying to watch that fight.
Yeah. Listen, y'all. Let us know if you watched the fight. I know we're talking about Afrotech. This is gonna be the Afrotech call-in show, but I'm letting people wake up this morning, give them a little time. So we just talked about the Mike Tyson fight a little bit. I did not watch the fight, brother. I promise you, I did not watch the fight. For one, I got my dates and times crossed, so that's one thing. Secondly, I just was like, I did not want to see. I just felt like it was a money grab, even before the fight was. I'm like what, like unless Mike Tyson was coming out there to do his thing, I felt like it was a money grab. In fact, I see comment section right. I'm gonna go to the comment section before I continue because I see a couple of things here that I thought was great. We got before I even get into that, Harmony mentioned, I didn't go in. She said, new in the tech industry altogether. It's really chill down here in South Carolina. It's pretty slow down here compared to other states, but we're picking up. No worries,
That's
no
what I
worries.
heard. That's what I heard.
Yeah, yeah. And then Mitch said, he's like, yo, this is why I tell Ralph to relax. You don't want these hands. And then these are Netflix is Basura. Oh, what up, Shanae? We got Shanae here on IG. We got Sarah. Okay,
What's
what up,
cracking?
y'all? What up, y'all? Love for you to call into the show, Shanae, if you want to share your thoughts. I don't know what your morning is like, but that'll be cool. We got Mitch. He said Netflix is Basura. They weren't prepared. Too many people. Got you. It makes absolutely sense. And he also said it's up and running now. The fight is over because it is working now. And Ty Smith is in the building. Ty Smith, what up? Good morning. Good morning. Love
Good
for you to
morning.
call into the show and share your thoughts and opinions if you were able to make it Afrotech. But he said sad fight. And I agree. It was sad. I mean, I just seen the aftermath of it and just the memes and everybody making jokes about it. I was like, man, that's one thing that I really didn't want to watch the fight for because I didn't want to see someone like Mike Tyson in stature be kind of reduced, his legacy be reduced even more because everybody's like, Killer Mike. We've seen it growing up, at least in the 90s and early 2000s, and just kind of like really the 90s, but it was in his prime, and just kind of being able to see him do what he was able to do. I didn't want my last recollection of him being in a situation that would diminish that legacy, and unfortunately that seems to be what happened. And
Yeah.
everybody said everybody got paid. Go ahead, brother. I'll let you talk.
No, I mean it's one of those things, bro, where I don't know how much you followed Mike even back in the past, but you know, you gotta know when to fold. What's that song, man? You gotta know when to
Low
hold. You
and
gotta know
hold.
when to fold. You gotta know when to, hey, let me put my cards down and bow out gracefully. Even back then, man, he, you know, towards the end there, he has some interesting fights, you know,
Yeah.
was in his the first half of his career. So that's one thing. My whole thing, like I said, with this one, I just did not want him to get hit that canvas, bro. I didn't want him to
Yeah.
hit the canvas. So I was rooting for him to get it done in the first round, and he
Yeah.
had him a little bit. But after that, it was more like, hey, just make it through, okay? You know, it
Mm.
was one point during the end. You know, he was gassed. You could tell. You know, he was in the
Mhm.
corner, mouth wide open, just trying to get all the air he possibly could. But I think I think when it comes to sports and stuff like that, man, a lot more people should be like Bo, man. They should be like Bo Jackson. You know, leave
Mm.
out on top. And just have people wondering, like, you know, man, what would have been? What would have been? But it's hard. You know, it's easy
Yeah.
to say that. It's definitely hard when you are great at what you do, and yeah, time like you feel like it's gonna last forever. But you know, some people know and they get out. You know, I think
Yeah.
Andrew Luck was one of them. Andrew Luck for football, he was one who, hey, let me get on out of here, man. I'm not trying to sit in a wheelchair at
Mm.
57 years old because I got hit too much.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, even the the Miami Dolphins quarterback, I can't think of his name right now. He got to get out of there, man. He
Mm.
suffered too
Tua.
many concussions, man. Yeah, Tua.
Tua.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got to go. He's that dude is gonna be walking around looking like
Every time he comes back, man, it's so sad. Yeah. Every time he
I
comes
don't know.
back. Well, we got Daniel on the line, also on IG. What up, Daniel? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. And then we
Mitch
got
is hilarious.
Mitch. This is hilarious. He said Trey so mad he forgot his hat.
I'm not. I'm not mad, bro. My hat is literally it's sitting right over there. I set it down and it's so far away. I was just like, dang. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not mad. Trust me. If I look, there's one thing you need to know about me. I don't get mad at sports anymore. If I can't put any stock in it, if I can't buy stock, if I can't own a piece of it, I'm not getting that mad at it. I'm sorry. Like period.
Yeah, Mitch is
I,
rolling it. Listen,
yeah,
I'm
I'm
with you
looking
on
at
that
it. I
one.
just can't pick it up.
I'm with you on that one. I'm like, hey, listen, it is what it is. Listen, y'all, this is actually we're warming up to the time of the day, right? I wanted to give you a little time to wake up, get your coffee, and be ready to call into the show. So if you did not see it, we definitely have the call in link in the description on LinkedIn and YouTube. If you click that link, you don't got to show your face, but you'll be able to jump on and you could share your experiences at Afrotech, especially for those who have never heard or been to Afrotech. This is a great opportunity for you to share what exactly happened from your vantage point. What were some key takeaways, things that you thought were great? And we got Oris in the building. Hey, what up, girl? Good morning, all. Good
What's
morning.
up?
Good morning.
I
So
said,
glad
what's
to see you.
up?
And happy Monday, fellas. Daniel says on IG, happy Monday, fellas. I
Appreciate
appreciate
that.
that, Daniel. And listen,
Great
y'all, if
morning.
you know anybody that let me just say this as well. If you know anybody that has went to Afrotech and has an amazing story, share this with them because this is a segment that they've been waiting for where they could share their experiences. Now that the dust has settled a little bit, people are going to go back to work after quite the weekend. This will be a great opportunity for people to share their experiences. But before we do that, we got to do the bulletin board, right? So this is the opportunity again. If they want to, if you want to call in, the call-in link is there. So go ahead and jump on and share your thoughts. But what I'm going to do in the meantime, while we prepare for that, is go to our bulletin board. So if you're not familiar, our bulletin board is the segment where basically you are able to hear about upcoming tech events, mixers, and everything else from Black Tech Global. And again, that's blacktechglobal.com, your premier source for tech events coming up. And so I want to start off with what's happening today. If you are in Miami, Florida, I'm going to read through them, right? So in the meantime, go ahead and in fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show that link one more time. That link is right there. Again, it's going to be in the description to call into the show. This is the time to do it while I do the bulletin board. But right now, November 18th, we had a few things happening, which is the Black GovTech Friendsgiving Text Mixer, which is in Washington, D.C. That's only $25 to participate in that. Then you have November 18th to the 20th. So from today to the 20th, you have the in Miami, Florida, you have Data for Black Lives Conference, $150 for that. 21st, Diversitech Connect Philly Mixer. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check out the Diversitech Connect Philly Mixer in Philadelphia, PA. We also have November 21st to the 24th Black Travel Summit. Then we have the Black Professional Summit 24 in Hollywood, Florida. And then we have Black Girls Tech and Finance Summit 24 in London, England, which is only 10 pounds for
London.
that. Yeah, so definitely check that out if you want to find out more. And Ori said it right here. Yes, share the Afrotech experience. I could not attend. I did not attend. So listen, we want you to definitely be here to share that experience, y'all. But last but not least, I'm going to go talk about this event because it's coming up very soon. And this event is Textgiving. Textgiving is happening December 11th to the 14th. So you definitely want to be there for that. Again, it's December 11th to the 14th. That event is coming up. We're going to be talking about that a lot between now and then. So definitely go ahead and jump on for that. And so before we get into it, we're going to be talking again about Afrotech right now. And honestly, depending on how you guys respond in your participation, we might just end the show with this because there's a lot to talk about. But this requires your participation. This requires you coming in and call into the show. So just want to make sure if you are there, if you had a chance to share your comments about it, we'd love to hear from you. Again, we're going to be chatting about Afrotech. But for those who are not familiar with it, we got to stop the presses. I got Antoine in the building. He said, I heard Afrotech was banging. I also heard that, man, there was so much work to get more people into tech. Oh, man, love to hear that. I
Mr.
love to hear
Wade.
that. That's it. Thank you so much for stopping by, Mr. Wade.
Yeah, man.
And sharing that. But before I that's a good point. Before I get into Afrotech, what did you hear through the grapevine, Trey? If you heard anything, I know we both had a crazy week, so I don't know if you got a chance to hear anything.
Week was crazy, bro. I didn't get to hear nothing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out myself. Okay. No, I know it's always fire. But yeah, that ultimately, here's what I know. I know that regardless of what you hear in the news, it's still people are still hiring. People are still looking to get more people into the tech industry. It's still thriving. It's just it's not as good as it was before, but that does not mean that it's not good. Okay, what do I mean? Think about like Bitcoin and stuff like that. There are times when it's low, right? Like a month ago, it was at what 60 something thousand. Okay,
Yeah.
Technically that's still good, but
Mm-hmm.
it might have been lower than what it had been in the past, kind of deal. So it's one of those things where that's the same with tech. So even though it seems like it might not be the best, it's still a space that you should get in if you can. If you're thinking about it, if it's all you can think about, find a way to get in. And Afrotech is one way that if you do the right things, if you meet the right people, you can find yourself getting into the right space for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Antoine said it's about to change with this new admin. Tech jobs are about to boom.
Man,
Ooh.
say it again for the people in the back, dude. You when you see what's going on, that's why it's so important to kind of
Yep.
follow and take a look. And by the way, y'all, if you haven't watched last week, go to
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Antoine Wade's YouTube channel and watch his video from last week. It's gonna go into more detail on why he's saying what he's saying right here with this new
Mm-hmm.
admin and why tech jobs are about to boom. Remember, there's a big tech guy, okay? One of the biggest,
Mm-hmm.
probably a trillionaire and sometime soon, sooner than later,
Yes,
okay?
depending on the
Uh,
currency, he already is.
okay, exactly. So he's up there. He's in position. So you already know that they're thinking about that kind of stuff. They're making moves to make it make it right. So yeah, follow that, guys. Follow it.
Yeah, and then for those who don't know, we're talking about government administration has changed, right? We have a new president, and the president elect has also put in governance uh, a few people, two individuals pertainingly, and one of them is Elon Musk, who is over what is called government efficiency. So, how do we be more efficient as the government? How we could cut spending and things of that nature. And since both of the individuals, Vish and Elon, are in tech, it's just gonna be like, hey, this is how technology can help making things more efficient. With
Exactly.
that's just what is presumed is assumed by basically them being in that position. So if you aren't aware of that, definitely look into that for sure for yourself. It is going to be a prime time where a lot of things in the technological space will be able to get that opportunity to be in the forefront. So that just want to make sure that Mitch said it here too as well. He says, "Be Tesla too." And so and so yeah, and but
Hey,
basically yeah. Hey man, you can't love them all, right? That's what that's what he
can't.
said. Oh yeah, and people saying it's not good because it's not like 2020, 22. Who knows? It might be better. We don't know yet. We got to look and see, and time will reveal itself as what it will be. But listen, this is the part of the show where you call in. But for those who have no idea, well, we got Big Papa Code, Big Papa Code here on IG. We got Big Papa Code on IG. So good to see you,
It's
man.
good to see you, man.
Um, but what I would say is this: for those who are not familiar, and I'm going to actually add this in here, so while I'm talking, people know that they could call into the show. Um, but yeah, but for those who are not familiar with Afrotech, I'm just going to do a little brief introduction to it so that you are somewhat familiar with it. But basically, Afrotech, it's a conference 2024 is set to be groundbreaking event, or it is a groundbreaking event, I should say, that took place from the 13th to the 16th in Houston, Texas, at George R. Brown Convention Center. Oh, we got one caller in, so y'all listen. I'm gonna bring up that caller right after this description. But if you want to call into the show, now is the time to do so as well. And if you do know anybody who is at Afrotech, share this with them so that they could share their experiences as well, especially if they are up this early in the morning. But real quickly, it was happening at the George R. Brown Convention Center, and there was a lot of things that are happening. They had new stages. They had cybersecurity stage focusing on AI, machine learning, and other things in regards to cybersecurity stage, and also governance and tied to that as well. They had an AI stage discussing quantum AI, automation, ethical AI, and regulations across the job sector. They also had data and engineering stage as well, providing insights on career development for software engineers, data scientists, and product managers. So there were new summits this year, such as the Founders Summit, Health and Environment Equity Summit, and Creative Design Summit. And then there was there's tons of networking opportunities. They had Afrotech conference provide like attendees to connect with like-minded professionals and industry leaders. And then they had a U College reception and Black Women in Tech power networking as well. So I mentioned also career advancement was huge in regards to talent infusion, a platform that allowed attendees to submit resumes and build talent profiles and connect with decision makers from top tech companies. And then, as you know, there's also tons of speakers that were there as well, including Issa Rae, Timberland, Marseille Martin, and a few others that are a part of this. And so there's a lot that could be said. Bun B, I believe, was in the building as well, performing Jagged Edge, Slim Thug, Mike Jones. There's a lot going on. There's a lot
I
going
wondered, did
on.
he bring any burgers through? You know what I'm saying? Slang some burgers out to the crowd.
Hey,
You know what I'm
man.
talking about?
It was Houston, so I won't be surprised if they had something set up. But listen, I don't want to delay it because we got somebody here who's going to share. And it's not just anybody; it's the man. Ty Smith is in the building. What up, Ty? It's so good to
Man,
have
what's
you,
going
man.
on, Ty?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh, great. I can't call it, man.
Man, I'm surprised that you are up.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's 4:30 up here in
Yeah.
Vegas right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you're up. I didn't know you were gonna be on camera, man. I was like, oh, it's 4:30. I thought I was just gonna see the little the little
Avatar.
talking thing. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
good
I
to
know.
see you.
Yeah. I figured might as well. I mean, we Afrotech's only
Yeah.
once a year, right? So we
Yeah, yeah.
gotta make this an annual thing.
This is a fact.
Yes. Yes, and hopefully next year we'll be live on scene doing this
Yeah.
Yeah,
in front of
have
a
to.
crowd and individuals. This year, we both were limited for work from a work
Have to.
standpoint or whatever, but we're here now, man, and I think it's nobody better to kick off this conversation than you, because
This is a fact.
So I'm gonna stop here and just say have the floor and share as whatever your heart content is, man. We'd love to hear your point of view on this event.
Yeah. So I think so. My thoughts on it. I think that it was definitely a great event. So for those that are thinking about going next year, that are trying to decide, should I go, should I not go? If you haven't gone to an Afrotech yet, I think that is a great place to be. I think this year they had the most first-time attendees that they ever had. So I was talking to one of the staff members. They said they had over 35,000 people
Wow.
this year, and it was in Houston, Texas. So previously it's been in Austin. Before that, it was in Oakland. And Austin was cool. The only thing about Austin is that it's not really known for just really culture, like especially
Hmm.
when we're talking about Black culture and
Mm.
things for us to do. There were a lot of venues that needed to be rented out. There were a lot of backstage issues that people had when it came to like negotiating and throwing side events at Afrotech, because like just that city isn't really designed for us. But
Yeah.
Houston, the city was really prepared for the attendees. It was prepared for a lot of the organizers, and we got a lot of cool stuff that happened. On my side. So for those that don't know, I do some partnerships with Trabaja and Diversitech, and we plan out little mixers and activations, and we want to do something at Afrotech specifically just to kick off. Last year, we ended up doing a small event that was at the side of Afrotech. It had about maybe 150 people. So when we're in the planning stages, we hit up a few of our people out in Houston, and big shout out to a guy named Ray Litt, who's in Houston. He's like basically the most well-connected person in tech. And, I hit him up and I'm like, hey, we're thinking about doing something. What do you got? He was like, well, I have a stadium that you guys can rent out. And we're like, an
Let's
entire
go.
stadium? He's like, yeah, an entire stadium. And,
Jeez.
I know the person that runs it, and we'll cut you a deal. And, I could get you a live band in there, and, it'll be dope. And I was like, all right, I don't know if we can, like, how many people do we need? It's like, I mean, if you guys can draw out like 1,000 people, I think we could definitely fill it up. And I'm like, all right, last year our event had like 200 people. So I don't know if we could fill up 1,000 people. So, I talked with
Hmm.
Shannon Morales. So shout out to Shannon Morales. Shannon Morales, she runs
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Baja Diversitech. So I throw the idea to her, and, she gets on it, assembles, her crew, her team. And we just spent 2 weeks just really just reaching out to people locally. Local radio station came in, and just a bunch of different amazing vendors, cybersecurity providers. Ali from Baddies and Tech came in and jumped in on the event
Let's
too.
go.
And within 2 weeks, we pulled off this epic event. We had the entire stadium. We also partnered with Dell as well. And
Nice.
and like the videos are on YouTube. And the
Awesome.
way that if you know that this is the event, if you see an event that had fireworks, because what we didn't really know is that during the event, 2 hours in, there was a surprise fireworks show that was like at the stadium. So how if you have a football game, there's fireworks at
Yeah.
lunch.
Yeah.
So we had an entire fireworks show shoot off. This is like the opening night. This is opening night kickoff of Afrotech, and the stadium is
Wow.
like literally 2 blocks from the venue. So yeah, we ended up with one of like the dopest events. Thanks to some of the locals that were down there that really were like, hey, like we're gonna make this special. We're gonna bring in all the people, and I think that's really what it was about. I think the
Yeah.
groups that reached out to the local people in Houston and that were like, hey, we need help. Help us plan this event. I think the local folks really showed out and really made it special for not only Afrotech, but for the side organizations that wanted to throw events.
Man,
Wow.
dude, that's crazy. That's what I was gonna ask for sure. Did y'all capture it on video?
Yeah.
'Cause yeah, people got to see. No, so one thing I did want to ask them, based on your experience from going from Austin, which, like you said, might not necessarily be, set up for the culture versus going to Houston. Um, do you believe that that's the spot where it needs to be going forward instead? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing about it is that Houston has a lot of tech workers in Houston. Like there's a
Hmm.
ton, and there's a lot of people, not just on the front lines. There's a lot of directors, a lot of VPs, a lot of executives. Like this expo floor, for those that are looking at it from like a job perspective, like I've never seen an expo floor like this. there wasn't a company that you can name in tech that wasn't on the expo floor. I mean, like, you know, if you wanted to talk to Meta, Microsoft, AWS, if you wanted to talk to CDW, Netflix, like they all were on the expo floor. American Express. I mean, even the video was on the expo floor. Like as big as a
Wow.
company that is, they
Wow.
were there on the expo floor, just there with the space. You can go up to them, you could talk to them. I mean, like companies that people because so you know my Afrotech backstory before going to Afrotech, I never had contacts with any of these companies. Like before I started going to Afrotech, like if you date it back to like 2022, 2021, I didn't know a
Yeah.
single person at Microsoft, or I didn't know a single person at Google. So like if you are like that and like where I was back in 2022 and you want to have friends at Microsoft, friends at Google, friends at, you know, Facebook or wherever, just where you could ask questions and just find out what that life is like, they all were there. Like all those companies and they came down 20 deep, 30 deep.
Mm.
Like Goldman Sachs is there like 50 deep.
Oh yeah, they weren't playing.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. You know, so I think that's a little special. I mean, I lost count of how many vendors that they had, but I think they had close to 200 plus vendors that were on the expo floor, and I've never seen anything like that. So I think they did an amazing job with that expo floor for sure. Um, you know, so expo floor, I give them 10 out of 10. Location, you know, 10 out of 10 for sure. Houston was awesome. I mean, I think for me, if there was anything that I would change personally, I think that the content was okay. You know, it was, and I'm talking about when you actually go into the stage and you see the people on
Yeah.
stage, like that type of content. So they had a lot of cybersecurity, a lot of AI content, which is great. But I do feel that, you know, there are opportunities to bring on some folks that have really been doing a lot of groundwork, a lot of community work in this whole, you know, tech scene, and give those people their shine and their flowers. You know, we have a lot of different tech groups. You know, we have Techsgiven, we have Baddies in Tech, we have Black Men in Tech, we have, you know, Trabaja, and then we have many great influencers. You know, we got Caleb Berg. You know, we have, you know, our recruiter cousin. We have all these different cool folks that, in my opinion, should be on stage, like should be on the main stage. Like these are people that have been in the trenches all year. They know the pulse of the people. You know, like people like Anthony Mays, for example. Like these are the folks that like I want to see on the main stage. You know, so I think there's an opportunity next year to really make sure that the people that are doing the groundwork and helping people in the community get their shine on stage, and that it's not just like, hey, if your company sponsors the event, then you can go on stage. It's just, hey, we hear you, we see you, we know the impact that you all are making, and we are setting up, even if it's a community stage or whichever. Those folks are really understand what the community needs in terms of content. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, shout outs to some of those people. So we actually threw another tech sales event. So last year, so last year we threw a very small event. It was like 25 people. It was called Tech Sales and Vibe. It was like a pop-up event that we did. This year we actually went much bigger. So we worked with Afrotech's competitor because we wanted tech sales at Afrotech. Tech sales was not represented at Afrotech at all. I pinged them long before and told them like, hey, we need to do something. But you know, they want to go the direction that they did, which is fine. So they're not the only Black tech organization. There's another one called UpCity, and UpCity is based out of Toronto. They're the competitor of Afrotech. They have over 100,000 members.
They're huge.
They just did a conference in Toronto a week before Afrotech that had 25,000 people, which was incredible. That's a whole another story in itself. But I worked with them, and they were just like, hey, you know, we want to do something at Afrotech, but we want to bring in content that we know Afrotech isn't covering, but the people of Houston want to see, need to see, and people of Texas want. And I'm just like, there's a lot of people in Texas that are in tech sales and that want to be in tech sales. And if we did a tech sales event, especially if we did it like right next to Afrotech, like maybe we could do something like right across the street from them. And they're like, let's go, let's do it. And then, you know, they're like, who you want to bring in? And I'm just like, if we're doing tech sales, something tech sales related, we're in Texas, like, then let me see if I can bring in maybe Caleb Berg. And Caleb Berg, you know, we chatted. She was like, hey, I want to come in, let's do it. She flew in, and we ended up getting this venue literally right across the street from the actual conference center. It was this 2-level dope venue, upstairs, downstairs. And we completely packed the place out. So we had like 450 RCPs, and luckily we didn't have 450 people show up because the space only held like 250. So, but in total for attendees, we had right under 200 attendees. So it was right about 200. And we had upstairs, downstairs packed up. We did a fireside chat. So it was like myself and Kayla, and I just let Kayla cook. I just basically just let her just break down everything of, you know, what she does in tech sales, just her journey going into Microsoft enterprise sales, all of that, and just some of the tips and tactics. It was really a no fluff fireside chat. Like, we went right into just, you know, how do you get in? How do you help folks? And then at the end, we flipped it back into a channel sales conversation. And we brought actually the first channel sales conversation into Afrotech, because we did a reverse interview where she was like, all right, Ty, like, it's your turn now. What is channel sales? And we cut that conversation in. And then at the very end, we bridged the gap between selling with partners, you know, selling, you know, versus being a partner. And the whole thing kind of came together. And then we got it sponsored by a couple of our sponsors. So shout out to Cox Business. And shout out to Rapid Scale as well, Intellisys. So they all kind of came in and helped us host the event. But it was the very, very first channel sales conversation at Afrotech, the only tech sales event that entire week. Like, so, and there were so many people in the room, and big shout outs and thank you to all those people that came out there. If you're watching, we appreciate it, because throwing these events are nerve wracking, and you know, you just never know what's going to happen. So that's my experience in a nutshell.
Man, that's heat right there. And it's safe to say, man, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna look at 10x, basically 10x from the previous year. Like you can't beat that. And I know it's only gonna get bigger from here, man. Because you the man. It's only gonna get bigger from here.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I got to get you all involved. My whole goal is like, I hope that like there's some ripples going back to Afrotech, that hey, across the street there was a tech sales event that was basically standing room only, you know, because there were so many people, and we got to make this an actual topic, because like, no joke, I encountered in the whole week, I encountered well over 500 to probably close to 1,000 people that were in tech sales, were trying to break into tech sales, that were there at Afrotech. And they all said the same thing, that we wish there was content about this at Afrotech. We wish that the content was on stage. Like, you know, why am I in a room, a packed out room of 200? Like, this should be on the main stage. So hopefully the powers that be are listening in, because, you know,
someone saw it.
You got to hear.
Someone saw it, or someone heard about it going on across the street. So it was one or the other. Either they were mad, and that was enough to get them to do something, or they were like, "Man, we need to make sure this is on the docket next year. We need to make sure we get these folks in because of what was happening." But somebody knows.
Disrupt now.
That's for sure.
Sometimes you have to be disruptor in order to see things happen. But Ty, please don't leave right now. I got a couple of things that we want to post your way. Antoine Wade is in the building. He said tech sales is where it's at.
He's one of them that knows for sure.
He's one of them that knows. I mean, I was listening to a conversation yesterday, and there's not a lot of industries where this guy was sharing from his experience, where a lot of his contemporaries W-2s are $1 million or so, because he works in this particular field. And so, there's definitely a lot of questions and things that people have. One of the questions that, I could probably answer this, but you can answer it as well from your experience, is Afrotech just for seasoned professionals? Quick answer, no. But long answer, Ty, go ahead.
No, not at all. There were so many students there. So, and I was actually shocked, and that a lot of the actual students came out, not just like solo dolo, like there were student groups. So a lot of the different like, African American like student groups like came out like 20 deep, 30 deep. Like I saw there's a Black leadership group from Penn State, so they were all out, and these kids were tall. Like I just saw a bunch of 6'7" people. I just had to
What are
walk
they
up.
eating?
It's like, who are your
Yeah.
kids? And they're like, yeah, we're from Penn State. It's our first Afrotech, and school sent us out here. And yeah, and I think having like those folks in there, I think made it really cool energy. And it because sometimes when you have these like really corporate events and like everyone's corporate, it just kind of gets kind of stuffy. But like having like some new folks really helped change the whole dynamic. But I think it was a really good mix. I would say probably about like maybe 30% possibly, or 35%. At least of the people that I spoke to were new to the industry, trying to get into the industry, and basically bought like a general admission ticket just so they can learn about Afrotech. And almost everyone that I spoke to that did that did not regret it, because they're just like, hey, like my mind is opened up, like my mind is blown. I actually had one of my friends from Vegas come out, and same thing. He just wanted to kind of learn about just the rest of the industry, and he was just like, my whole life has changed. I feel like a Pandora's box open and it can never be closed again, because I now understand what it's like at these other companies, and that there's more to life than where I'm at right now.
Oh, that's such a good point.
That's it, man. Exposure leads to expansion. And once your mind is expanded, it can't go back to the way that it was.
True.
So that's one of those things, man. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm so glad you said that, because there are a lot of people, and I won't get too deep because there are a couple more comments here that I want to address. And Jamel, aka JP, agrees. He talked to Harmony, said it's for Black professionals on any level in school, just graduated, or 20 years into your career. And so, with that being said, in regards to what you just said, sometimes we could be siloed off. And I think I had that epiphany when I went to Thanksgiving with you last year. You could be siloed off. You could think this is what it is, or this is how many people are in the industry because of where you are. Then you get into those certain circles and your bubble bursts, and you're like, oh no, I have no idea what it is out there. But now I'm getting a glimpse of it, and it kind of gives you a level of just admiration, excitement. I want to say this quick story, and then we'll go back to the conversation. But in regards to last year when I went to Thanksgiving, I remember standing in the back, and I was standing in the back with one of the guests of the show. I won't say her name, but she was on a guest of the show, and her mother was there, and I was just standing there looking at 1,600 tech professionals, people of color that were killing it in their various industries, and she just looked and she said, "My babies, look at my babies," and it just that level of just pride and that level of sense of like, man, look how much we can accomplish as a collective. Really does change something for you when you're in those rooms. And so I wanted to point out though, something I know Mitch is playing around, but this is a good point. He said, was Apple there? And the reason why, if you don't know, he's an Android user, so he's always playing jokes and stuff like that. But I'm assuming Apple was there. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I know that there are sometimes questions about events where you might go to an event and you might see a vendor and you're like, oh, they're not hiring, they're just there, right? But was that the experience this time around at Afrotech? Was it just vendors just to be present, which is not a bad thing, but were there job opportunities in this event as well?
Yeah, so I would say that this year, in comparison to last year, the vendors were ready, and the vendors were looking to hire. We're looking to bring people into their recruiting pool. Now, I will say there's levels to this, right? Because I do want to shout out another conference called National Sales Network, where that conference is known to hire people on the spot, like they literally do like on-site interviews. And also shout out to UpCity's Be Future Conference in Toronto, where they do on-site interviews as well and hire people on the spot. Afrotech isn't really like a hire on the spot kind of place, but it is a place where you can be face-to-face with leaders of the recruiting departments, leaders of certain departments that you may want to get into. You meet like a recruiting manager at a big tech company, maybe Palo Alto, for example, or Cisco, or et cetera, et cetera. So it is a place where you can get some really good contacts, and there is special diversity hiring departments that all of these companies have, where they do want to hire diverse talent, and those people are on site. And even if those people may not have something like right then and there for you, like you have to like do your due diligence and stay in contact with those people, help those people as well, because obviously like they're hiring hundreds and hundreds of positions. So a way that you can help those folks is if you're trying to get into, let's say, a junior software engineering role, but you know that they're also looking for sales roles or they're looking for marketing roles, like, help them out by sending them good candidates too. Like, just build that relationship, because those people are like sometimes your lens into the company that can help you out with certain things. If you have questions, I saw this role posted, what are your thoughts on this? Who's the hiring manager? But it's not just like they're there to help you. You also have to help them too, because these people have quotas to hit. They have goals they need to hit in terms of hiring and recruiting. But those folks, those diversity hiring people, those people are all there. And for the companies, they're all hiring for something. They may not all be hiring for the role that you want, but they are the main point of contact when you do need to get into that particular role that you can talk to. And that was the main thing about Afrotech, is having all those people available, because trying to find them and with companies that have 100,000 employees, next to impossible. There's 10 diversity recruiting people at some of these companies. So the fact that one of them is there out of the 100,000 employees is huge.
You got a network.
You get that face-to-face time with, and then double back later on, like you said, boom, let me shoot you this name. By the way, this is what I was looking for. Being able to speak to someone face-to-face, you're a lot more memorable. And then you also, boom, now you have another contact that, by the way, we never know where these people end up. I always say that, right? Like, hey, just because they're a recruiter at such and such right now, and it doesn't mean they're always going to be at that company. They could go up, way up, and now you know this person, you've known them for a year, you've known them for 2 years, and boom, the perfect position pops up for you, and they remember you, and then now they're reaching out to you. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And another question from JP here. He says, I didn't go this year, but last year's didn't have a large cybersecurity presence. It was mostly around software engineering. Has that changed this year?
Yeah, this year it was 50% cybersecurity, for better or for worse.
Wow.
So, and I really mean for better or for worse. So if you're into cybersecurity, you want to know about what are the legal implications of cybersecurity, what are the financial implications of cybersecurity, how does cybersecurity, infuse with AI in terms of software, cybersecurity's impact on enterprise businesses, like every single cybersecurity topic was covered, like completely covered. Like they overcovered it. Like it was a lot of cybersecurity. like they literally thought of every possible topic you can have about cybersecurity. So that was awesome. A lot of people loved it. For the folks that are trying to get in, Houston has a really big cybersecurity presence as well. For the ones that were just like, hey, that this is cool, but what about project management? And there wasn't it was just cybersecurity. It was cybersecurity. So I think the only thing that was missing was cybersecurity sales. Cybersecurity sales was not covered, and I think that's something that they need to add next year. And there's some groups that they can tap in with, I think, to do that. And big shout outs to our citizen sales as well. Going back to what I was saying earlier, that's another group that I feel like should be on that main stage. Like, you need to get Chantel George up there and that organization, because on the cybersecurity topic, they have a lot of great cybersecurity salespeople that are in that org that I think could have added to it. But yeah, this was the year for cybersecurity. I don't know if it's going to be that next year, because I think when the feedback comes in, I think some people are going to say like, hey, it was a lot, but this year was that year where they covered it as more than I've seen at any of these style of conferences, basically.
That and AI probably took the cake.
Definitely.
JP says that's great. Thank you for that feedback. And I think that just to kind of add to that real quickly, I saw when I was doing some research, it had a cybersecurity stage, an AI stage, and also a data engineering stage. And so I believe that was a focus. But one thing this is showing me, based off of what JP said and based off of what you're saying, Ty, is that they are very big in listening to feedback, because he mentioned when he went, there wasn't a lot of cybersecurity. Now it's ad nauseum, So I think that cycle may play itself, where maybe next year, everything, all these industries, but the tech sales portion of it will be probably elevated a little bit more, that might be what's going to probably flow out of the conversation and the feedback that they're going to get this year. So we'll see, because
Yes.
I mean, there's not many positions in tech that are as lucrative as tech sales. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot, don't get me wrong, but like the mass majority of people, like I mentioned earlier in the conversation, a colleague was said like he doesn't know any of his colleagues in the tech sales arena who are not a millionaire from their W-2. You know, so there's a lot that can be explored there. But Ty, man, this has been great. First of all, I would love to keep you to the end, but I know I'm not. I gotta be sensitive to the fact that what time is it at your end?
It's early. It's early.
You gotta probably
Jump back in that bed, man.
Yeah, I got like Guyana peeking at me like, what are you doing up at 5 a.m.? Why is it so
Oh
hot
man.
What up, Ayana?
What's up, Ayana? Sorry.
Yeah, totally apologize, but we are so appreciative because your presence really made this show excellent. And so y'all, I just want y'all put in the chat.
I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
If I could say one last thing for those watching and for those submitting the forms and all that feedback next year, like, you know, really let them know, like, we need tech sales on the main stage at Afrotech next year. You know, we need Joseph Smith on the main stage. We need Big Bag Trey on the main stage as well. Like, we need a Talk That Tech session. We need just everything, like all your favorite influencers. You know, we need Caleb Burke on the main stage. Like, we need all these folks that are doing their thing with tech sales on that main stage. So, you know, let's just make that loud and clear, because like you said, they do listen to feedback, but we have to provide that feedback. So that's my call to action to everyone listening, whether you watch this recording later on, is let's just make sure to do that.
Love it. Thank you, man. Everybody, Ty Smith, show your appreciation in the comment section. Say thank you, Ty, for giving us that great rundown on Afrotech. That I don't think anybody in the world that would have that perspective but Ty Smith. So I appreciate you. Your vantage point is huge, man. Like you see a lot. So the fact that you're able to come on the show and share, it definitely means a lot. Or says thank you as well. So thank you so much, Ty. Connect with Ty Smith on LinkedIn, y'all. If you haven't, go ahead and find him. Award-winning channel sales leader. You'll be able to find him. No worries.
Appreciate it, everybody.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Take care. All right. Well, man, that was fantastic. That was great. And I'm so glad that we were able to get the man, the myth, the legend, Ty himself, man. And he said something that's great. He said that these are places where you could get to meet people that you probably would not get FaceTime with. And then you'll be able to, from there, go ahead and do some amazing stuff with them. So yeah, thank you so much, Ty. Definitely appreciate it. In regards to, man, so good, man. So good. And we're pretty much at the end of the show.
That's it.
That's it.
Sometimes you got to go out. Sometimes you got to go out like that, man.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, I don't think there's anything else that we need to say right now. But just save your pennies for next year. That's all I'm going to say. Save your pennies for next year.
Antoine said, I'm going to be there if it's tech sales there.
We need Antoine Wade on the stage. Listen, y'all, if you want to put feedback, you need to put this man on the stage.
Hello.
No questions. Put this man on the stage when we're talking about this conversation.
So he can shut it down. So yes, absolutely. And he said I'll be there if it's tech sales. So let's get that feedback, y'all, to them. They need that so that they can grow and learn. And we all need feedback in life. So that's definitely there. Before we conclude, just want to run it right back to y'all. If y'all have not been informed already, we are part of the Live Podcast Network. As you can see our little faces right over here. So we are part of the Live Podcast Network, where there are other creators in this space who are sharing their talents, their gifts, and their voices. And so if you are not familiar, there's plenty of things out there that might be of interest to you. So definitely go to the livepodcastnetwork.com and learn what's going on. There's various different speakers from our Braxton, a few others that have their podcasts here. So definitely join the Live Podcast Network and check it out for yourselves. But with that being said, we're done, y'all. Thank you so much for rocking with us on Talk That Tech, the #1 tech morning show in the world. We'll see y'all next week, man.
Yes, peace and elbow grease.